everybody. Welcome to What the Flick. You have been on tenterhooks, I know, waiting to hear how the season of Turn was going to wrap up, and we heard your tentering. Robert Abele, William Bibiani, Alonso Duralde.
Tenterhooks.
Yes, because
How long have you been waiting to use that
more
word?
than 9 terhooks. Okay, so episodes 8, 9, and 10, which are titled.
It was like the challenge, and then it was by thy neighbor, something thy neighbor.
By thine own hand or something.
Against thy neighbor. It was a whole neighbor thing.
Yeah,
and then there was the Battle of
Setauket.
That was the one that had the Battle of Setauket in it.
Yes,
Which really wasn't that much of a battle.
Not so much.
It was a skirmish.
There's always these battles are so polite back then. There's there's
Well,
messaging.
they got some good
and,
humor out of that too.
That
When Hewlett's going, let's make this civil. I just thought that was really funny. I mean, that was funny.
So okay, do we think this show is coming back?
Probably not.
Probably not, unless there's some like hardcore contingent of history fans. I mean, like AMC has had this Hell on Wheels show for a couple of years now that I didn't think after the first season would come back. But I guess people watch it.
Yeah,
no one talks about it.
There's
but
other factors involved, like are they making enough money off of advertising or whatever. There's a lot of shows that were on for forever that I'm like I never knew anyone who watched Chicago Hope. That show was on forever.
Right. And people obviously really want to know who wins the war. So that's a thing.
Yes, I'm very, very curious.
I mean, does this show? Can you sell a show by the American Revolution overseas? Do other countries care? Does Britain want to watch this show?
Britain might be curious just to see what we think of them. But I will say this. We were harsh on the show in the beginning, and with good cause. I think so. But it's gotten better. It never got great. It never.
No, but it ended well.
It ended well. The last few episodes were pretty good.
But the last episode, I think, was actually maybe one of its best. I mean, it brought all the characters together in a way that was kind of interesting, and it really put the themes up front in an interesting way, story-wise.
Right.
The dynamics were all kind of interesting at the end. I mean, it all played out in a way that's like, this is what I want from a TV show. When shows have to separate everybody and send everybody off into different directions, and you never quite know what the timeline is, it's kind of hard to like maybe keep interest in a show. But with a finale that is really all pretty much, not real time, but all in one, everyone's there, everything's coming to a head. They did really well with that, I thought.
Well, I feel like this last cluster of episodes finally, it felt like, you're waiting for it to get to the place, and then they got to the place. They get to, they finally have sex, and the wife.
So much sex.
Yes, and the wife finds the code book, and there's the trial, and there's the hanging, or the threat of hanging.
Is the meat that we wanted to really eat in the. That's a weird
and along the way, you can tell they sort of discarded things they were less interested in, like Captain Two-Face, from Austin Land, and the slave lady, and there were some subplots that were sort of like
I know they kind of But I mean, this reminded me what I liked about the other episode that I thought was really good was the one involving the gravestones, because once again it was about Setauket. It was focused. It was about the dynamic between patriots and the British, and how things simmer and resentments, and it was a tight little storyline. And the same thing happened here. You had everything with like the patriots coming back into town, the British wondering what to do with their hostages, and then war possibly breaking out in town. I mean, these were all good tensions to have.
You get like in episode 9, you get the trial stuff. So it's Jamie Bell getting.
Stuff was good.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite episode, the trial stuff. I thought that was the most interesting place that they had put Abraham Woodhull.
Right, he had to kind of wink, I'm...
The Sleepers episode where I have to prosecute but also lose, and everyone's going to hate me for it, but I'm doing the right thing for them. That's the most interesting, like, morally complicated place he has been in the entire series. That was the episode that really excited me, where I was like, yes, no,
It was very Victor Cifuentes up there.
You get to see a scene play out, as opposed to when you watch these little scenes that are just all about passing on information, so that you can build the thing that matters. I mean, that trial scene had its own like up and down moments, and it was extended.
And he's going head to head with Simcoe the whole time.
And Simcoe going completely Section 8. Like, it was really funny. Just seeing him splatter in blood going, like right before the commercial, and I'm just like, okay, this is just
like silly.
It's funny, Sheila became less of a cartoon over the season, and Simcoe became more of one.
Yeah.
And Simcoe was always a cartoon.
he was kind of Snidely Whiplash the whole
totally
Snidely
Whiplash. I don't know. I feel like the show, again, I think we all agree that the concept of the show is really cool, and that when the show, even if it's just for a moment or a scene or a single episode, it shows the potential to be truly awesome. I wonder if perhaps this season was a mistake. And what I mean by that is it feels like so much of the opening was just getting people into the place where we want them to be dramatically. Yeah. Even the last thing in this episode, which is, okay, now my wife is Lady Macbeth and we're going to move into the big house with all the Brits. And which, by the way, that came out of nowhere and that was really frustrating. Because she can't handle him sleeping around, but if you murder a guy, I got this. I'm on top of it. I've done this before.
She's Harvey Keitel.
Yeah. But like, you know, I feel like
so quick.
Yeah, but then I feel like the last couple episodes and then like where they clearly want to begin season 2, I feel like maybe that's where they should have started and let all of this be backstory. If they had started this in medias res, just right in the thick of it, like this might have been way more engaging and exciting from the start, and we wouldn't have just been like checking our watch the entire time, waiting for it to hit.
You're right. I mean, I think as they have gotten us to a good jumping off point. The question is now, is there anyone left to care if they jump off or not? You know.
Yeah, and that's the problem with, you know, we're emphasizing serialized television now. That's where a lot of the money is. That's where a lot of the, you know, the marathon views on Netflix or whatever are, and that's fantastic. But it's still, that's not carte blanche to just tell a story from the beginning. You might want to massage it and be very, very careful.
It felt like a trap between being a miniseries and a TV series. That's what this season felt like. You know, miniseries, which you know knows it's going to have a beginning, a middle, and end.
Sure.
They can pace things in a way that it. I mean, this show though wants to last many years. So, and yet it also wants to be the kind of like that 10 episode show that feels like
a season unto itself.
Exactly.
They're telling a story.
And I think it never quite got that vibe.
Well, it was never very clear about what the season would be. You know, it wasn't like, you know, you watch a season of Game of Thrones and you get a sense of like, oh, so there's going to be this assassination and that's going to be this season. Or, you know, you watch something on Breaking Bad, well, now he's working for this guy and that's going to be this season. With this, it's just the whole damn American Revolution. And it's not very clear, you know, what this chapter is about other than getting started. And getting started was badly paced.
Going into the last episode, I wasn't thinking, okay, what's going to get resolved? Where are they going to leave it? It was all sort of like, well, there's just going to be more of this, and then maybe there'll be
big picture, little picture stuff was hard for this. They didn't reconcile big picture war stuff, little picture character stuff in a way that was all that interesting, unfortunately.
Yeah. And there's been moments like I want to like Abraham and Anna. Like Anna's my favorite character on the show. She's a lot of fun. She's sassy, but she's a strong character, and yet she has to do things that are so ridiculous. Like in the third to last episode,
when her fake horror episode,
the fake horror episode, when she's like, "I'm going to protect her from everyone." It's like, "I hate you," and then he gives his whole speech about how Anna I want to die, and she's like, well, that turns me on. I'm gonna go have sex with you. And I'm like, is that how that works? I have been dating wrong. And then at the end, where it's like her husband comes back, and that's a good moment. That was a good dramatic moment. It was really awkward, and no one could say anything because of who was in the room, and that's always good drama on a show like this. And then, you know, she's running away with them. She's like, you know, I thought about it. I like my married asshole boyfriend better. You know,
it made you realize that, like, and once again, I'm usually not the kind of person who likes to speculate on what shows should be instead of what they actually are. Sure. But I mean, it did make you realize that if I were creating a show now based on this, it really should have been about the town. The show should have been a show about a town and how a town maybe transforms from being, you know, fine and being loyalist to entering the revolution and going and being against the British.
In many respects, that was the biggest through line of the entire season. You're right.
That was some of the best material, was stuff that happened in the town and when people were in the town.
Reverend Talmadge or whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
And I agree. And I think if it had digressed less from someone like the J.J. Field stuff or whatever, if they had really made that the focus, I really would have been way more on board. But their attentions were split because, again, I think they were just trying to move the pieces of
Meanwhile in New York and then meanwhile in Rhode Island and
the whole Angus McFadden thing went nowhere all season.
God.
That was the worst.
What a waste of time.
That was like the end of the Temp, you know, where it's just like, after all of this, it's just like, you're fired. Like, spoilers for the Temp. But, you know, like, it was like a joke. You know, it's like, oh, by the way, we can't afford you again, Angus McFadden. We'll see it.
Speaking of subplots that went nowhere, like, okay, so you've got the slaves who have to serve in the British Army, but if they survive, then they can have their freedom, and then let's never talk about them again, you know?
Once again, if you'd focus on the town and you'd had him been a character that came in for one episode, and like made a mark for one episode.
Oh, sure,
been about him, and then you would have, but like spreading him out over the season was just
I feel like the ending was. I feel like what they were. It seems like they might have been doing was they might have been setting him up like they might have thought we all really liked Angus McFadden, like we loved to hate him, and now that the British have fired him, he's going to switch sides, and now he's going to be our hero. And we were like, yeah, Angus McFadden. I'm really not that invested.
I never cared, and clearly we haven't
not good.
No, and clearly we haven't seen the last of Simcoe because obviously he's been set up as our big bad of this show. Yeah, I don't know.
Simcoe's so ridiculous.
So this show may return, it might not.
I'll be interested to see where it goes. I feel like there's a lot of shows I'm conflicted about, but I keep watching.
I would watch a second season.
I would give it a shot.
If you are too, we will come back, I guess.
Or check for that little notice, like in a few weeks, that AMC has quietly canceled.
Exactly.
Third column down.
Anyway, for the 10 of you watching the program and watching these recaps, we appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.
My cabbages!